Good evening, members, officers and all who are tuning in live. Welcome to the meeting of the BCP Standards Committee today, Wednesday the 15th of December. I will go straight to housekeeping and ask my clerk, Miss Louise Smith, to advise all attending.
Thank you, Chairman. Please note that this meeting of the Standards Committee is being live streamed and will be recorded by the Council to support the production of minutes for the use of democratic services. In order to ensure the meeting is managed effectively, please could everyone present follow these ground rules for speaking. Only speak when invited to by the Chairman and mute your microphone when you are not talking. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms Smith. I go to agenda items 1. Apologies. Are there any apologies for this meeting, Ms Smith?
Yes, Chairman. Apologies have been received from Councillor Stribley and Ian Sibley.
Thank you. I go to agenda item 2, substitute. Are there any substitute members this evening, please?
Yes, Chair. Councillor Williams is substituting for Councillor Stribley.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Williams, for attending tonight's meeting. Thank you for subbing. Thank you. I move to agenda item 3, declarations of interest. Do any committee members have any declarations of interest? If so, please raise your hand. No? Thank you, members. I move to agenda item 4, confirmation of the minutes. Unless anyone indicates otherwise, can we please agree the minutes as an accurate record regarding minutes of the Standards Committee held on the 5th of October 2021? Are we all in agreement? Yes? Thank you, members. I move to item 5, public issues. Mr Smith, have we had any public questions, statements or petitions submitted in accordance with the Constitution?
No, Chairman.
Thank you, Ms Smith. I move to item 6, which is a change on the agenda. We're going to the date of next meeting before we go under, as we had on item 6. The committee is asked to agree the next meeting being held on the 1st of Feb 2022 at 7 p.m, which is the most convenient date for members when asked to their availability. Members, do we all agree on that date? Are we all happy? Okay, if we're all happy, then I would say put that in your. Oh, sorry, Councillor Andrews.
Mr. Chair, I apologise. We've discussed the date. I'm happy with the date. Also on the agenda is the time of 7 p.m, which is obviously half an hour on from this one starting. Normally, the standards meetings started at 6 p.m. I'm just wondering, particularly for some members who come all the way over from Christchurch, whether that is acceptable to all the committee. Well, not all the regular members are here this evening. I know Councillor Stribley has expressed 7 p.m. is not convenient for her. Thank you.
I think the 7 p.m. allows people to get here with traffic, obviously, because there is a bit of commuting in the evening to do. So I think 7 p.m. is a practical time. And if everyone agrees, I'll go forward with that for next year.
Yeah, I've tried both times and the traffic's quite busy out there. And I would suggest that 6 o'clock would be a suitable time. I don't recommend people coming out and starting a meeting at 7 o'clock. I think it's a bit too late. I think we've got to think about the staff as well. They're here. I mean, most of our agendas normally are not too long because we have preliminary meetings which tie these things up. So I would ask that, well, I'd like to move that we go to a 6 o'clock start. Am I in order?
Do you want to put this to a vote? Councillor Butts.
Thank you. I suggest then, for fairness, because I find 6 o'clock far too early, perhaps as we're meeting at 6:30 tonight, 6:30 would be a good compromise, Mr. Chairman, and that would allow a balance of the timings. So perhaps we could try 6:30. 7 I would find difficult. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Butt. Councillor Andrews, would that be amicable 6:30?
Yes, it'll be okay for me. Obviously, probably in about a year's time or whenever we'd be moving over to Bournemouth Town Hall, and maybe be more convenient for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Sorry, Councillor Ricketts.
Thank you, Chairman. In the absence of Councillor Stribley, I will reiterate what she has said in emails to members, that she's concerned that this committee used to meet at 9:30 in the morning, and that has been inconvenient for her to move to an evening meeting. So just for the record, I am stating what Councillor Stribley has said. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ricketts. Councillor Batts.
With respect, we've never had any meetings, even in pool or in this council, at 9:30 in the morning. They've always been in the evening, I think Councillor Stribley is being confused with the informals, which are set to obviously at a time to suit the chair, and that the previous chair was able to meet at an earlier stage, and I'm sure the chair makes himself available during the day to accommodate committee members, but all members are in the evening. But of course, Mr. Chairman, I should have not said anything and allowed you to demur to Mr. Jones. My apologies. Thank you.
That's quite all right. But Richard, do you want to comment on this?
Sorry, Chairman, I wasn't, but just to confirm that Councillor Butt is right, the scheduled start time for all Standards Committee has been 6 p.m. Since BCP was formed. It was the informal meetings that were held during the daytime. Just for the record, so BCP has set its, up till now, its Standards Committee meetings for 6 p.m. So that's been in the schedule of meetings since 2019. But obviously it's up to the committee in this sense. This is a special extra meeting, so it's really up for the committee to determine the start time for the extra meeting that we've got in January or February the 1st.
Councillor Ricketts.
Thank you, Mr. Jones, and I apologise to Councillor, but I was just reiterating what had been said through email. Given that the precedent has been set at 6 o'clock for so long, I'm happy to second Councillor Borthwick's proposal that it is at 6 o'clock that we start. Thank you.
Councillor Batts.
I think we had an agreement. This is rather silly, isn't it? Agreement for 6:30. I think we also need to be mindful of what the chair is available for him for a meeting which is called, which is extraordinary, which is, of course, this is an extraordinary meeting which we're holding in February. It's not a scheduled meeting. I think, Mr. Chairman, we need to move ahead. We do have a proposal of 6:30 on the table. I hope that all members can make 6:30, and I think we need to go with that proposal. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, so we have a proposal for 6:30. Can we go to the vote here? Councillor Andrews?
Mr. Chairman, there's been a proposal that's been seconded by Councillor Borthwick. I think we should take the vote. Thank you.
Yes, Chairman, sorry, that's correct. There have been two proposals put forward, one by Councillor Borthwick and seconded for 6 o'clock, and another by Councillor Butt, which has not yet been seconded.
Okay,
May I ask for a seconder?
I second that. Okay, could we go for the first proposal with Councillor Borthwick for 6 o'clock? Yes, we'll go for that one first. So all in favour? Against? Any abstentions? No. Okay. And for the second proposal, Councillor Butt with the 6:30 time.
With respect, Mr. Chairman.
The first one's failed, Chair, so...
Yeah.
Apologies, sorry. So we move to agenda item 7, exclusion of the public and press. Ms. Sice, as the BCP monitoring officer, will you please introduce this agenda item?
Certainly, Chair. This agenda item is going to recommend to the committee that we move into private session for the two reports that are under consideration this evening. Both reports contain information relating to an individual, and they are each so inextricably linked with the other that I think it would be difficult to be in public session for one and private session for the other. So having weighed up the public interest and the presumption for transparency against the threat of real harm to an individual who may be identified through these reports, I would recommend to the committee that we move into private session.
I'm happy to second that, Chair.
So I can't propose that, Chair. It would have to be proposed by a member.
I'll propose it.
I'm happy to so propose, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Thank you. Having heard from the monitoring officer regarding the items of business appearing on the agenda, and having due regard to the advisory note of the independent investigator as set out in the submitted reports as agenda items 7 and 8, we are asked to consider whether to pass the following resolution and exclude the press and public from the meeting. The resolution being that under section 100A(4) of the Local Government Act 1972, the public be excluded from the meeting for the following items of business on the grounds that they involve the likely disclosure of the exempt information as defined in the paragraph 1 in part 1 of schedule 12A of the Act, and that the public interest in withholding the information outweighs such interest in disclosing the information. Does anyone want to speak on this based on Ms. Seiss or does anyone want to speak on this? Sorry. No, okay. I propose we go to the vote.
I so second.
Thank you. All in favour? That's unanimous. That's carried. Thank you. That's carried. Mr. Jones, can we move to exempt?